Between the moments, something stirs. There is beauty in the quiet pause. It is the space where ideas take shape and small details come alive. This is a place for reflection, expression, and creative unfolding. Here, among riverstones and sagebrush, inspiration flows as gently as still water. Step into the delicate space of nature's calm and see what begins to bloom. Hello team, it's Jess or Jashi Corinne on behalf of Archer and Olive, here to give you a full breakdown of what to expect in the December 2025 sub-box. It goes without saying, but warning, there are spoilers ahead, so if you wanted to hold off until you receive your own box, then be sure to use the link in the description box to jump over to Archer and Olive and grab your sub-box, and once it arrives, come back to this video and we can share in the excitement together. Without further ado though, let's get into it. The idea behind this box's theme was that there is beauty all around us, if we pay close enough attention. Drawing inspiration from nature in particular, the theme of the beauty between highlights that even the seemingly mundane and everyday things that can easily go overlooked have a beauty to them. We can expect inspiration drawn from textures and delicate things found in nature, and the first item we're pulling out is the information card. This one gives us the theme name for the box, and as said, turn over for spoilers. This one gives us a full breakdown of what to expect, and while you are more than welcome to pause and have a snoop, we're going to be going through all of these individually together. Even though it is just the information card, this could make for very nice journaling materials, so I'm going to save this one for later, but the first official item we have is a washi and journaling sticker set. On the back it tells us to expect 4 sheets total with 2 of each design, and carefully opening that one up so that we can have a look, we can see that these ones are in a range of blue tones offering both functional and decorative pieces. This first one has 13 different designs with a range of shapes and sizes, and some really pretty details on each of the different botanical elements. All of these are kiss cut and printed on a washi material, and here you can see the intricate borders that we have around some of those. To accompany those more decoratively focused pieces though, we also have the functional ones, with 11 boxes and circles, and then a decorative one at the top. The rectangular ones have a 5mm dot grid in them, while the circular ones are blank, and we also have that little floral decoration at the top too. That means that across the 4 sheets we have 50 stickers total, which all match really nicely in terms of their palette and designs. Slipping those ones back into their packaging though, so that we can get out our next item, which is a set of artisan papers. These can be great for collaging and junk journaling, or just adding some texture to your page, and as it tells us on the back, we have 24 sheets with 3 of each of 8 designs. Getting those ones out of their packet though, the artisan papers were hand selected and even created by the design team over at Archer and Olive, in particular those being the printed ones and the ones with the gold foil. Having a look at our papers individually though, the first one is fully gold with a really nice textured grain to it. You can see the kind of lines of the texture here. The second one is a very thin and delicate printed paper with some botanical designs. Some of those being printed darker as if they're kind of in the foreground, and then some paler ones that look like they're kind of merging into the background. The third one is a kind of cracked or marbling texture with some gold foiled pieces. The fourth one is a paler coloured handmade paper with some fibres in it. The fifth paper is similar but with a darker brown paper, and you can see a closer look at the texture that we have on those ones here. The sixth style is on a really pretty blue with an embossed design over the top. You can see the style of that repeating pattern here. The seventh style is a textured grey, which you can see is mostly flat on one side, but if you flip that one over, we have a lot more texture. And we have a similar thing for our eighth style, though this one being in a green colourway, with notable texture on one side, and then a little bit more flatness on the other. Notably, the grey is pretty much one colour the whole way through, whereas the green has a little bit of variation. As said though, we have each of these designs 4 times over for 24 papers total. These are going to be absolutely great for adding texture and visual interest to layouts, not only because of the variation in the papers themselves, for instance the differences that we get in each of those wood fibre designs, but we also get some texture from the handmade elements and also from the intentional embossing. Those ones are going to be a lot of fun to play around with, but putting those away so that we can get out our next item, that one being a craft knife. Now it should go without saying that craft knives can be sharp, so in opening this one up, do be careful with yourself. Just in case you forget this warning from me, we also have it on our packaging. Warning, sharp blade, handle with care, keep out of reach of children, and we also have the warning on our information card. This blade is very sharp. Getting this one out of its packaging though, at a first glance, this one looks like a pen, but thankfully it has a label here on the cap so that we know exactly what it is. The barrel is blue with some really pretty gold floral designs on it, but when it comes to first opening this one up, do be careful because the blade might be a little loose and you'll just need to tighten it. So unscrewing the cap so that we can reveal the blade, when you first open it up, you just might need to tighten this chamber so that then your craft knife is nice and secure. You can see we have that metal grip around where the blade is so that you can hold onto this one safely, and that blade itself is very sharp. We could also actually use this to cut up the papers that we had before too. Or oftentimes people will use them to cut out Dutch doors, or fussy cut around elements on a sticker sheet if they want to, or any other kind of precision cutting you want to do. Of course, when you're not using it, be sure to put the cap back on and secure that because we want to keep ourselves safe. I think this is probably the prettiest craft knife I will ever own, but putting that one back into its packet so that we can get out the next item, that one being a set of 4 washi tapes. I know the box isn't the point, but I do love the design on this box. But getting those ones out, you can see we have 4 unique designs in a range of sizes. We have a thin 9mm grid tape with gold foiling and botanical designs, a 15mm lace floral design, a 20mm blue botanical design, which really nicely matches our stickers from before, and an ultra wide 45mm tape, which would make for great background decoration. Of course, we not only want to look at them on the roll, we want to see them on paper, so I'm grabbing out my swatch book so we can have a look. For each of these, I use a craft knife to cut off the left-hand side and then just tear off the right-hand side. And while this notebook isn't part of the sub box, it is still from Archer and Olive, just so then we can see how these materials look in their notebooks. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be this one at the bottom, just because I can see it being so versatile. I love a wide washi tape, but let me know which one of these ones is your favorite. If we get a little closer so you can really see the designs, I think that the gold shine with that green is absolutely gorgeous, and I really love the way that the blue is going to match so nicely with those stickers. All of the edges ripped really nicely with my ruler, and I can definitely confirm that that craft knife is sharp, but I think I've done a pretty good job of not applying too much pressure to cut through on the other side. If you're ever wanting to use a craft knife directly in your notebook, it's usually recommended to use some kind of cutting mat underneath, or just be very soft with your pressure. Those 4 tapes are going to be a lot of fun to use, but slipping them back into their packet so we can get out our next item, that one being a set of 5 duotone pens. This is a style of pen we haven't seen from Archer and Olive before, so I'm very excited to get into this. But flipping on over, we have our color palette, and given the fact that they are called duotone pens, it's not so surprising that we have 2 separate colors for each of them. So we have Riverstone, Stillwater, Sagebrush, Weathered Wood, and Desert Blooms. We can use our craft knife to very carefully open up the packaging on this one, because remember, it's sharp, we don't want to injure ourselves. Having a look at our pens though, you can see from the picture at the top, we have a rounded nib on one side and a pointed plastic nib on the other. The plastic nib gets the darker of the colors and we get the paler color on the rounded end, and the rounded end is 3.5mm, whereas the plastic end is 0.4. Having a closer look at those nibs, you can see this is what the 3.5mm one looks like, whereas the 0.4 looks like this. We are of course going to test all of those in my Archer and Olive notebook, just so that we can see how the pen's write and what the color range is like. We also get little pen labels to put on our duotone pens, and I'm really interested to see how people will go about using these different types of nibs. Obviously in this box we get the 5 colors that are related to the theme, but is a duotone pen like this something you'd want to see again? I think it has a lot of possible interesting applications. Here you can see a little closer up as to what they look like on paper. So we have the dots in varying sizes, just depending on how much pressure you apply, and then that 0.4 nib for some squiggles and some writing, but I think this is a really pretty palette. I also think that these would be pretty good for note taking, like being able to underline things, but then also have dots that you could do a bulleted list as related to the notes you were taking or something. And I'm definitely gonna have to put my little name stickers on later, but slipping those very cool new pens back into their packet so we can get out our next item. This one is a set of 3 soft covered notebooks. This one is also something that we haven't seen from Archer and Olive before, and thus I'm very excited about it. But if we slip this one up, you can see that it comes in a vegan leather cover, which has an elastic closure around the belly of it. The material is a soft, flexible faux leather, and you can see we have this gold design on the front. In terms of sizing, this one is a B6, but if we open it up, on the inside, we have 3 separate individual notebooks. Each of these 3 have a different paper type. So on this blue designed one, which is the same design we had on that embossed paper from before, this one has lined 160 GSM paper. The green insert, on the other hand, very excitingly has graph paper. So this one having a full grid rather than a dot grid. And then the brown notebook that has that same kind of sprig that we saw on the front cover, that one has dot grid paper. Having a a little flip through of those though, we have the brown cover that then has this design on the inside with the dot grid. We then have the green insert, which on the inside looks like this with the graph paper. And then for the blue insert on the inside, that one looks like this, and we've got the lined paper. Each of the inserts has 40 pages with 160 GSM paper, regardless of the styling. And I'm honestly just really excited to see full grid paper, but each of these inserts is held to the cover using these elastics that just feed into the middle. That means that each of these can be removed if you want to, and then you can just reuse this cover for other inserts if you wanted. Each of the inserts is a B6 size, as is the cover. I think this one is a lot of fun and something we haven't seen before, and I also appreciate the fact that with separate inserts like this, you can have a different insert for a different thing. I know some people who like to use this with their planning will use one for like long-term information, one for more of the day-to-day kind of stuff, and then one for maybe like yearly collections. But closing that one up so that we can slip it back into our box, because the next item we have is another notebook, this one just being an individual one, and rather than a B6 size, this one is an A5. Again, I know the box isn't the point, but I really love this design around the outside. So if we open this one up to have a look, you can see that it's a good thing I liked the design, because that's actually what we have on the front cover of the notebook. This one has gold foiling on a mint buckram cover, and the design of this one is similar to other elements we've had in the box. Along with the design on the front, we also have spine design, which is one of my favorite things, which means that the notebook's gonna look so pretty on the shelf as well. Opening that one up, you can see that that design continues on the inside cover, and in terms of paper for the notebook, we have white pages with a dot grid. Our bookmark color matches the cover with the green and gold, and this one has 192 pages. This one is very much giving me fairy tale vibes. I think this is a beautiful design. And although you can definitely use this notebook for anything you want to, it's really giving me reading journal vibes, or like whimsical nature junk journaling kind of feelings. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I know to some people it's probably a little silly, but having the same design on the box as I do on the journal is also kind of exciting to me, because Art and Olive make really lovely boxes, and they have previously had a lot of boxes that we all wished were turned into notebooks, and sometimes we get that, and this time we definitely did. Putting that one safely back into its box though, so that we can have a look at our next item, which is also a notebook. But for this one, we're gonna have to zoom out a little because it's a B5. I know we want to see the design, so let's open this one up. And this design is called Queen Anne's Lace, and oh, look at that. This one is a vegan leather cover with some really cool white and gold foiling. You can see they've used the different colors of foil to give us that front cover design, including these little dots and details throughout as well, which are really pretty. And of course we have the spine design that you know I love so much. On the back we have the continuation of the green. We have our pen loop and bright white pages, and then the vine design that we have on the front is also what we have on the inside here, that one being done with a gold foiling. The notebook paper that we have in here is white dot grid, and we have green and gold on the bookmark to match the cover. I think that the white foiling is a super cute touch, and it really makes these almost daisy looking motifs really pop. But putting that one back into its box and then all of our items back into the sub box, if you wanted to grab one of these sub boxes for yourself, then all you have to do is jump over to Art and Olive and sign up for the quarterly subscription. I would love to know which of the items you're most excited for. I think for me it's a tie between the duotone pens, because I love a dot marker, and the softcover notebook with the grid paper, because I'm just a sucker for a grid as well. I'm very eager to hear what you're most keen on, and if you think this box is for you, be sure to jump over to Art and Olive and grab one for yourself. I hope you take some time today to appreciate the beauty between, and as always, thanks for watching.